Welcome back. In part 1, we covered the first 3 tests in our framework for deciding whether or not to take a pay cut for career advancement. Now, let's get really specific about what you're gaining and what you're giving up with the trade-off test. This is where we move beyond generalizations and we get clear about the actual trade-offs that you are making. I want you to think about this in terms of energy, growth opportunities, financial impact, and lifestyle changes. Let's start with what you might gain. Beyond the obvious career advancement, will you be more engaged in your daily work? The client that we previously discussed realized that she was bored in her current role, and the management position would give her new challenges. That's worth something, even if it's hard to quantify. You might also gain access to new networks, both within your company and in your industry. You could gain skills that make you more marketable and impact that you're missing in your current role. But let's be equally honest about what you're giving up. The money is obvious, but it's not just your current salary. If you're taking a significant pay cut, that compounds over time. You're also giving up the security of being good at what you do. In your current role, you know what's expected of you, you know you can deliver, and you have credibility. In the new role, you're starting over to some degree. You might also be giving up relationship networks that you've built. If you're moving to a different department or function, you're leaving behind colleagues who already know your work and vouch for you. There's also what I call the status risk. If your current role carries more external prestige or recognition, you might be giving that up temporarily. Here's the advanced analysis I do with my coaching clients. We look at what I call the reversibility factor. If this new role doesn't work out, how easy would it be for you to get back to something similar to your current position? Are you building bridges or burning them with this move? This client realized that her existing skills would still be valuable in other positions, and she wasn't completely leaving her area of expertise behind. She'd still be utilizing some of those skills in the management role. That reduced the risk of the move. We also consider the optionality factor. Does this new role create more future options or less? Are you expanding the range of the roles that you could pursue next? Or are you narrowing your focus? Management experience typically opens more doors than it closes, which was another point in favor of this client's move that we talked about. Let me walk you through this professional's complete trade-off analysis. She was gaining leadership experience, which would qualify her for roles that she couldn't access from her current position. She was gaining variety in her daily work, which would address the boredom issue. She was gaining visibility with senior leadership and exposure to broader business operations. The financial trade-off was manageable given her timeline test results. What she was giving up is some of her salary in the short term and some of the expertise and credibility that she'd built in her current role. But her analysis showed that some of those existing skills would still be relevant in the management role, and she wasn't completely leaving that expertise behind. So, how do you actually make the decision? Here's how I score these tests with my clients. The timeline test is pass or fail. If you can't afford the financial impact without significant stress, don't take the role. Period. The other 3 tests are more nuanced. For the trajectory test, we're looking at whether or not this move creates high, medium, or low impact on your career growth. High impact means you're gaining skills and experience that significantly expand your future opportunities. Medium impact is meaningful growth, but maybe not transformational. Low impact is minimal career advancement for financial sacrifice. The alignment test is whether or not this move strongly aligns with what you want your career to look like. So does it strongly align, moderately aligns, or it weakly aligns? If it's weak alignment, meaning you'd only do this for strategic reasons and you're not excited about the actual work, that's a red flag. The trade-off test comes down to whether or not the gains clearly outweigh the losses. If it's roughly neutral or the losses outweigh the gain. Here's how I guide my clients through the final decision. If you fail the timeline test, don't take the role. Financial stress will undermine your performance. If you pass the timeline test and you have a high trajectory impact with strong alignment, take the role. That's usually a clear yes. The trickier scenarios are when you have medium trajectory impact but strong alignment, or high trajectory impact but moderate alignment. These require deeper consideration of your personal priorities and risk tolerance. And if you have weak alignment, regardless of the trajectory, I typically recommend not taking the role. Career moves that go against what you actually enjoy doing rarely work out well, even if they're good on paper. But here's something most people don't consider. You may be able to negotiate before you accept or decline. Could you start at a slightly higher salary? Could you negotiate a performance review and potential salary adjustment after 6 months? Are there other benefits or perks that might outweigh the financial stress? I've seen clients successfully negotiate delayed starts just to save a little bit more before they make the move, or even a more flexible work arrangement. Let me share 3 examples of how this worked out for 3 of my coaching clients. Client A was considering a cross-functional move that involved a 10% pay reduction. They passed the timeline test, had savings and manageable expenses. The trajectory test was high impact because the new experience would open doors across multiple industries and company types. The alignment test was strong because they realized they were much more interested in solving the types of problems this new role would present. And their trade-off test was favorable. The temporary pay cut was worth the significantly broader career options they would gain. This professional took the role and performed well and is on track to be promoted. And this promotion that's coming up is going to pay 20% more than her original salary. The temporary pay cut was definitely worth the investment for her. Client B was evaluating a lateral move with a 20% pay-in reduction. They failed the timeline test right away, already living paycheck to paycheck, and had recently taken on significant financial obligations. The trajectory test was only medium impact because advancement opportunities in the new function weren't clearly defined. The alignment test was really weak because they actually enjoyed their current work, but just thought the new role seemed more prestigious. This client decided not to take the role and instead focused on advancing with their current function. Sometimes the right decision is just to stay where you are to optimize the career trajectory. Client C was considering a move to a different department. Their timeline test was borderline. They had some savings, but were concerned about how long the pay cut would last. The trajectory test was high impact because the new experience was valuable across multiple industries. The alignment test was strong because they loved the work that the new role would be providing. Instead of accepting or declining, this client also negotiated a 6-month salary review. The company agreed to their terms, and within 6 months, they're back to their original salary. These examples show you that with this framework, it's not about finding the one right answer. It's about making the decision that aligns with your current situation, your priorities, and even your risk tolerance at the time. So, what do you actually do with this framework? First, work through each test honestly. Don't rush through this. Give yourself some time. Really think about each question. Talk it through with someone you trust, someone who knows your situation, and will give you honest feedback. If you decide to take the role, negotiate the best possible terms. Don't just accept the first offer. Most companies expect some negotiation, especially for internal moves. Set clear goals for yourself within the first 90 days, 6 months, and 1 year. Build relationships with key stakeholders early because your success will depend as much on how well you work with people as it does with your individual performance. Document your achievements along the way. Keep track of projects you lead, problems you solve, and impact you create. This will be valuable for your next performance review or your next career move. If you decide not to take this particular role, use that as information for future opportunities. What would need to change for you to feel more confident in making a similar move? Maybe you need to build up more savings, more skills, or expand your network. Start working on creating those conditions. Stay connected with the hiring manager because similar opportunities might come up in the future, and you might be ready at that time. Work out these 4 tests for your specific situation. Be honest about the answers, especially with the timeline and trajectory assessments. And if you're not currently facing a career move, this is the perfect time to prepare. Build up your savings so you pass that timeline test. Develop skills that would make you more attractive for new and other roles. Remember, the best time to make strategic career moves are when you have options, not when you're desperate for a change. Your career is a marathon, not a sprint. Financial security matters, but so does professional fulfillment and growth. So tell me down in the comments, what are some career dilemmas you're facing right now? And if you found this valuable, please like and subscribe to my channel and turn on that notification bell so you don't miss any future videos.